Welcome back to Zarila HOA Stories. The police were halfway up our walkway when my wife, still in sweatpants and a faded academy tee, held up her badge with the kind of calm authority that could make a bear rethink its life choices. The lead officer froze mid-stride, his partner's hand twitching near his holster. And then there was Karen. The HOA queen's mouth dropped so wide you'd swear she'd inhaled a wasp. "I'm going to need an explanation for why you're trespassing on federal property," Sarah said, her voice cutting through the morning chill like a blade. Karen staggered back, her floral shawl flapping like a white flag. Her voice quivered. Oh dear. My name's Mike Larson. I'm a structural engineer who lived for lazy Sundays, slow-cooked brisket, and tinkering with gadgets nobody really needs. 4 years ago, Sarah and I bought what we thought was our dream home on Willow Creek Drive. Spacious lot. No HOA, close enough to town for errands but far enough to dodge neighborly nonsense. It was paradise, or so we thought when we signed the deed. Then came Karen Whitmore, a one-woman hurricane in pressed slacks and pastel shawls. She ruled the Willow Creek HOA like a dictator in a sun hat. The problem? Our property wasn't part of her domain. It hadn't been for decades, thanks to the original owner who fought to keep it free. The deed was airtight, the records clear as day. But Karen didn't care. She saw us as a stain on her perfect suburban empire. At first, her antics were just amusing stories over dinner. She showed up with an unrequested welcome folder stuffed with lawn regulations, approved fence colors, and, get this, a CD-ROM of a 1997 neighborhood orientation video. Sarah and I tracked down an old PC just to watch it. It was like a cross between a community college project and a low-budget infomercial. But her friendly notices were just the start. Soon, notes in glittery green ink appeared on our doorstep, printed on fake HOA stationery. Our mailbox wasn't regulation taupe. Our backyard grill was provocative, and Sarah's unmarked work SUV? Apparently, it screamed suspicious behavior. Sarah laughed so hard she nearly choked on her tea. We ignored it all with smiles. I'd nod when Karen patrolled the street with her notepad. Sarah would politely close the door mid-lecture when Karen launched into her community values spiel. We thought she'd tire out. She didn't. That's when Karen escalated. Fake HOA fines started slipping under our door. Official-looking bills with absurd charges. $60 for unkempt hedges, $90 for unapproved garden decor, $250 for disruptive exterior tones, which apparently meant our navy blue shutters, a color predating our move. Our paper shredder became a permanent fixture by the door. Then came the voicemails. Every Sunday at 6:30 a.m., Karen's voice would blare through our answering machine, demanding we attend urgent HOA summits and warning of escalating penalties. She claimed our wind chimes were inciting avian chaos, and our garden statues were disturbing to children. I tried reasoning with her once, caught her during one of her morning power walks, showed her the deed, and even suggested a friendly chat over coffee. She snapped a photo of my truck's license plate and muttered about vehicle compliance issues. Then came the day it all exploded. I'd taken a week off to build a 10 by 12 backyard workshop. Basic structure, fully permitted, up to code. I even painted it a dull gray to avoid trouble. Sarah was already planning to store her carpentry tools in it. I was nailing up the frame when Karen stormed up to our fence, her face a ripe shade of eggplant. She screamed about illegal construction and threatened to call in serious authority. I assumed she meant her brother-in-law with a mail-order paralegal certificate. I was wrong. The cops arrived on a quiet Wednesday morning, 3 patrol cars rolling in like a task force. Karen marched beside them, clutching a binder of bylaws in one hand and a caramel latte in the other, her posture radiating suburban superiority. From the backyard, I heard her spinning a tale of blatant disregard for community rules and a hazardous building project. I should have seen the chaos coming. I walked to the front, wiping sawdust off my jeans, ready to flash the permits tucked in my wallet. But before I could speak, Sarah stepped outside. Sweatpants, an old Secret Service training shirt, hair screaming, I've seen worse mornings. She took in the scene, 3 cop cars, a latte-wielding Karen, and me looking like a confused lumberjack, and let out a long, practiced sigh. Then she reached for her badge. Special Agent Sarah Larson, Department of Homeland Security, she said, her tone steady and sharp like a judge's gavel. The air went still. The officers froze. Karen's latte wobbled, threatening to spill. Even the neighbors, who'd been weeding their lawns for a better view, suddenly remembered indoor chores. Sarah's voice didn't waver. This is federal property. The workshop you're so worried about is a secure storage unit, and your presence is obstructing a classified operation. She wasn't exactly fibbing. The shed was secure, and my attempt to organize our tool-strewn garage was classified as a lost cause by anyone who'd seen it. The younger cop shuffled nervously, glancing at his partner. We'll need to verify jurisdiction," he stammered. The older officer nodded, already retreating to his car. "We'll make some calls," he said, clearly meaning, "We're out of here." Karen stood petrified, her mouth flapping like a broken shutter. She tried to sputter something about neighborhood sovereignty, which isn't a thing. But Sarah was ready. She pulled a crisp legal document from a folder she'd grabbed inside and handed it to Karen with a smile, so polite it could freeze lava. "This," Sarah said calmly, "is a cease and desist order from our legal team. Impersonating a regulatory body and harassing federal personnel on their property carries significant penalties. Read it carefully." The letter was legit, drafted by Sarah's agency after she mentioned our HOA saga during a coffee break. Her coworkers found it hilarious and were eager to help. Apparently, federal attorneys love squashing overzealous HOA leaders. Karen's face flickered through shades like a faulty neon sign, crimson, violet, then a sickly gray. Her hands trembled as she skimmed the legal jargon. Federal violations, potential prosecution. Word spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. By dusk, Karen's phone was buzzing nonstop. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, evident from the caravan of cars heading to her house, each driver wearing a grim expression. Our neighbor Lisa, the HOA's secretary and a longtime Karen skeptic, spilled the details later. The meeting was a bloodbath. The board's real lawyer, not Karen's brother-in-law, laid out how her actions risked lawsuits for false reporting, harassment, and impersonating an official. The board voted unanimously to suspend her, though Lisa said suspension was a polite way of saying gone for good. Karen had to write apologies to us, the police, and every homeowner she'd wrongly fined. The HOA's insurance company was particularly insistent on that. But Sarah wasn't finished. At the next community picnic, she gave a presentation called Understanding Limits. HOA versus Federal Authority. She made it required for board members, but invited everyone. She handed out pocket-sized property law guides and pens stamped with her agency's logo. Karen, stuck in the back by the coleslaw, looked like she wanted to vanish. She had to stand and read a public apology, her voice barely audible over the hum of the iced tea dispenser, expressing profound regret for her egregious oversteps. The real sting came later. The HOA's insurance hit her with a $6,000 deductible for the legal mess. Her false police report earned her a misdemeanor and $900 in fines. And the final blow? The board voted again, unanimously, to permanently oust her. Lisa said Karen sobbed as they pried her ceremonial gavel from her hands, security ushering her out. For the first time since we moved to Willow Creek Drive, the street was peaceful, and it was glorious.